So I hope that intro did not scare you guys, but I hope it also showed you guys something that I normally don't do, and there's a few reasons why I don't do it. But if this is you, you should pay attention, and just why you should not be this rage monster on the golf course. Let's not lie, golf can be one of the most frustrating sports out there. You know, like I said in my previous videos, there's just like so many elements that we cannot control. You can hit a perfect shot and end up in a divot in the center of the fairway. You can hit the pin and it ends up flying into the OB. There's so many things that we cannot control, so it's very easy for us to get so frustrated. In addition to all that, it's just a very difficult sport. You know, mastering golf, there really is no such thing. All we can do is try to play our best games every single day. And sometimes, you know, you can be on form one day and the next day you completely don't know how to swing a golf club. So I see so many people out there just get so angry on the golf course, and I think to some extent it's funny. Of course, in that moment in time, it's not funny to see people throwing clubs and doing this kind of things, but I know it's almost natural. But let's talk a little bit about why I feel like raging on the golf course is not something beneficial. So I'm not perfect either. I will admit that I have slammed my golf club before. It's not something that I do all the time. I really try to not do that for several reasons. Number one, I will never throw my golf club. If you've ever seen me throw my golf club, there must be something wrong, because I always tell everybody, I just think you look so ridiculous, and at the end of the day, you have to go pick up your golf club. So why throw it? Because then you have to almost do like a walk of shame to go pick it up. So also, I just think it's not very professional, and it makes you look kind of stupid, to be honest. Recently, I stayed with this host family, and my host dad was telling me, he said, you know, golf for me is a sport where I go out to have fun. It's my, what do you call that? It's the way that he releases his stress. So he absolutely hates it when people go out there and he's playing with a group and they're just cussing and like throwing clubs and all these kinds of things. And I really loved what he said, because what he said, although it might seem kind of rude, he said, you know, he tells his friends, you are honestly not good enough to be this angry on the golf course. And I think even though you might think that's rude, it is so true. Like for me, I practice so many hours a day and I still don't hit perfect shots. So obviously I get frustrated sometimes. You know, I practice so long and sometimes I still come back with a result that I'm not happy with, and a result that I just don't understand how I can practice this hard and still make the same mistakes that I've been making for years. I think it's just all part of golf and why we keep coming back for more. It's so addicting because you never know what every day is going to be. You know, every day it presents a different challenge, and there's really no point being angry, because obviously in the moment in time you are angry because you hit a bad shot. And I think there's two sides. When I tell people, you know, why do you get so angry, I think there's two sides of the story. Some people say, oh, you know, I'm angry because I'm frustrated, blah blah blah. And the other side is, oh, I'm not actually angry, I just need to release it in the moment and then I'll be fine after that. There is no right or wrong, to be honest, in this, but I do think that sure, you can just, you know, do something, maybe snap your fingers, or some people hit themselves really hard, which personally I still don't think it's very good. But if you need to do something to release it, you can do something to release it, because it's not good to pent it all up. But at the same time, there's no point being so angry, because what really happens when you're so angry, other than the fact that you look kind of dumb, is that it ruins your tempo and it makes golf not fun anymore. So it's kind of hard to see people who, especially, you know, I see a lot of amateurs, you know, they get so upset about playing a bad round, or, you know, they're just not having fun on the golf course. And it really makes me sad to see that, because I'm thinking, you know, not to be rude, but how many hours did you practice that you think that you cannot hit a bad shot? So although I know that most of the time it's involuntary, I think you always have that choice in that moment. Should I throw this club? Should I slam it? Should I cuss? You know, we should try to be considerate for other people as well, and not make golf. It becomes very awkward when your playing partner is throwing clubs, and what do you say to them? You know, it's really hard. They're pissed off. Do you comment? Do you make them even more angry? Like, what happens during that situation? Everybody just feels awkward. So I think that in addition to that, when you get angry, it really messes up your tempo, and that's the biggest thing, because tempo in golf is so important. And you know, having an even tempo throughout the round will help you play better. And honestly, what is getting angry going to help you do? Nothing. So instead of getting angry for no reason, just remember there's so many reasons to not be angry. Look at where we are. Just look at our environment. Just remember that yes, we can get angry, but at the same time, what's the point? Why not just enjoy golf, enjoy and be thankful for the situation that we are in, and just be thankful to be able to play this wonderful game. Life, like golf, it's all about perspective. And you know, I can't tell you guys not to get angry. I can't tell you guys to change your attitudes. But I can tell you guys that, you know, why get angry? Why be unhappy when you can be happy? Why choose to get angry? Why waste your energy on negative emotions when you can just be happy for what you have? And you know, if you're not happy with the way you play golf, get better. Work harder. And once you start seeing results, you'll get less angry. One of the biggest elements that I still have to work on every single time is to understand that golf is not about perfect shots. There's no such thing as perfection. As a perfectionist, that concept is very hard to me. But I think that playing this game has taught me so much. It has taught me that you can strive for perfection, but don't expect it. And there's nothing wrong with hitting less than perfect shots, because guess what? Most of the time, less than perfect shots are going to be good enough for you to make a par, possibly even make a birdie. Or you know, how many times have you heard those hole-in-one stories where people hit bad shots and end up going in the hole? You know, obviously there's an element of luck to that, but at the same time, I think that's something that golf teaches you as well. There's no such thing as being perfect. In life, we all make mistakes. But you know, as long as we learn from our mistakes, as long as we're trying every single day to be the best person that we can possibly be, that's all we can expect out of ourselves. And that's all we can expect in golf as well. You should, on every single shot, you need to try to hit the best shot that you can. Think about it in your head. And sometimes it's important to understand that there's no such thing as perfect, because when you're trying to decide what shot to hit, you must understand that you are not basing that on a perfect shot. Yeah, on a perfect shot, maybe my driver can go 280, but am I going to expect to carry a water hazard that's 280 if I, you know, don't hit the perfect shot every single time? Because let's be honest, we hit a mediocre shot more often than we hit a perfect shot. So you learning to understand and accept that perfection is not something that exists in golf is also going to help you manage your way around the golf course better. Because when you have proper expectations, you know what kind of shots you can pull off. You accept that you can pull off certain shots, and you accept that you cannot pull off certain shots. It's going to get you in less trouble, and it's also just going to make golf a lot more fun. When you have the expectations to be perfect all the time, guess what? I'm very sorry, but you're going to be let down a lot of times, and that is not going to make golf fun. You can always try to be perfect, but understand based on your expectations what you should be expecting. Should you be expecting a perfect shot, or should you be expecting to have the perfect plan in your head, but not necessarily pull that off 100%? But as long as that plan still puts you in play, you're going to be okay with that. That is going to help you enjoy golf a lot more. So I could have played the safer shot for my second shot, because as you could see, there was a tree overhanging me. And you know, I decided to go for the more aggressive shot, which was to try and hit the 3-wood and fade it, even though I knew that if I did not hit it left enough, it would go in the bunker on the right side, and if I hit it too left, it's going to go in the hazard. But at the same time, there's nothing for me to lose here. And as you could tell, I didn't hit a perfect shot because it clipped the tree, so I started a little bit too far right off my line. But what happened was, because I clipped that tree, I ended up not going in the bunker. So, you know, like I just said, there's no such thing as perfect, but just know that sometimes you don't need to be perfect, and sometimes when you are not perfect, you might end up being luckier, and that's just the way golf is, you know. Sometimes you win some, you lose some. That's the perfect way to say it. You know, some people ask me like, Jen, how do you spend so many hours every day practicing? Don't you get bored? Well, in addition to the fact that this is my job, and you know, it's part of my job, I also kind of attribute this to my perfectionist trait, and I thank it for that, because every single day I'm out here because I want to get better, I want to achieve perfection. But there's a reason there's a difference between trying to achieve perfection and expecting perfection. I'm trying to make my swing as perfect, my putting, my chipping as perfect as it can be, but I understand that that is not something that's going to happen all the time. It's not something that's going to happen in every single hole during a tournament, and it doesn't need to happen. So there's a difference between wanting perfection and expecting perfection. So I think that's a very important distinction, and trying to be perfect all the time, that is something that, you know, I have faced and I have had to push past to understand. And I think that it's important for people, especially the younger golfers, to know that you're not going to be perfect. You can always strive for perfection, but just don't expect it. This is another example. Not a perfect shot, barely on the green, but am I going to be angry putting for birdie? That just doesn't make sense, does it? So like I just said, I've been a victim of trying to be perfect all the time too. And you know, I have done this before. I have complained when I've made 18 pars in a row, and I'm like, my goodness, couldn't make any putts today. I made 18 pars. Because in our head, 18 pars is not enough. Well, obviously, don't look at it from your perspective if you're a 20 handicapper, but trying to understand what I'm saying from my perspective. Like 18 pars, I'm just like, I missed so many birdies. Yeah, but in certain sense of the word, you basically just achieve perfection, because the golf course is meant to be made to make pars. So when you make pars and you're not happy, you're just expecting more than, you know, you're just expecting too much. So sometimes we need to understand, like, pars are good. Like for us, sometimes, for me, you know, I'm like, oh, I need to make birdies. Like, par is not good enough. Which is, yeah, to some extent, that's true, because you can't really play on tour making pars, playing par golf all the time. But what's forcing birdies going to do, or not being happy with par going to do, other than make you upset and frustrated for no reason? So like I just said, it's all about perspective, understanding that par is a good score and just waiting for the birdie rather than forcing it. You know, it's another important aspect to learning how to be happy when you play golf, which is important because the happier you are, the better you play. So one of the reasons why I wanted to make a video like this is because I know that golf, we all can agree, is one of the best games for our mental health. Like, look at us, look at where we are, look at how blessed we are. But at the same time, when you're doing something like what I'm doing, making golf your career, it can be extremely taxing, it can be very tiring. And I know that there are a lot of people who follow me who are, you know, who have children who possibly want to embark on this journey, or, you know, people who are fellow pros as well who watch these videos. And, you know, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, and we all know that it's a very difficult life, but at the same time, it's important to try to make it as easy as possible for us. It's, you know, help golf remain the mental relaxer that it should be, rather than making it this mental burden where, you know, obviously it's different when you're trying to make money out of it, but there's no point really trying to focus so much on that, because all that does is make it worse and makes golf unenjoyable, which I think, you know, not only for pros, but I see amateurs do that all the time. Why make golf unenjoyable when it's such a fun sport, and we should just learn to enjoy it more and love it for the game that it is, and accept it for all its perfection and all its flaws, just like we do every other person in this world. Just remember that golf is there for us, not to be against us, which sometimes we feel like all the elements are going against us. But remember, it's all about perspective. Be patient, and the golf carts will always repay you.